Hey guys, good morning, and how are you going today? As you know, recently on Instagram and on YouTube, I asked everybody to send in messages or even just comments about what you may think of me or any questions you may have. So yeah, this week's YouTube video, I'm pretty much going to be answering everything you guys asked to the best of my ability, of course. And thank you for everybody for their participation. You know, sometimes it's good to do a little video, letting people know a little bit more about the person who's creating the video, which is me, of course. My name is Alan Charles, known as the Trini Surfer, I guess, on social media. And this is pretty much the questions that I'm going to answer. Thank you again for everybody who sent in. I'm just going to go through one by one and answer them for you, and hopefully it's a bit of entertainment and you learn something new about me. So without further ado, join me guys, let's run through some questions. Peace out, have a great week. The first question I have today comes from Mr. Kessie. Is photography your main profession? Well, Mr. Kessie, currently no, it is not my main profession. It's one of them, but I actually am also a restaurant manager. In the future, I do hope to make photography, video creation, everything I do my full-time job, but you know, especially in Trinidad, it can be a little difficult to just have one source of income and live your life comfortably, you know? Yeah, photography is my main, or one of my main jobs, as well as passions and hobbies, but I do also work in a restaurant and do many other things to try and help bring in income. The next one comes in from Jorel. I think you're really awesome, man, and if you don't think so, it's definitely true. So basically he's saying that even if I don't consider myself awesome, according to him, it is definitely a fact and the truth. So Jorel, I appreciate it. I wouldn't go as far to say that I think I'm awesome. You know, I think I'm a decent guy. I'm sure you are a decent person as well too. Your support and everything means the world to me, just like many other people who just come out of their way to show love and like really pick me up and give me motivation to try harder. So if you think I'm awesome, that's enough for me. It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks as far as I'm concerned. The next one comes in from Pat Slutch Media. I love that you are so driven, so considerate, and just an awesome human being. So there we go. Not only Jorel thinks I'm awesome, apparently another person thinks I'm awesome as well. But thank you very much. You know, again, I'll take the compliments as they come, because you never know when the compliments won't be flowing in life. So if people saying good things, send it my way. I'm taking all the good compliments for sure. Now, let me just give a full disclaimer. I don't know if I'm going to say a lot of these Instagram names wrong and that kind of stuff, so that's not my strong point. I'll just leave it at that. So I have another one here from Paddy. So if you know that's your name, I'm talking to you right now. Will you give classes for interested persons who would like to learn how to surf? So I get asked a lot from people who want to learn to surf, interested in surfing, where to start surfing, any question pertaining to surfing, of course, because I guess my friends and I are always at the beach surfing. Currently we do not offer surf lessons. However, Jono, who you know from my other videos, has constantly told me that in the future, maybe next year, that he would like to possibly start to bring in some equipment to give us the ability to start giving surf lessons, assuming of course the beaches and everything in life is a little bit back to normal. The next one comes in from Karishma, who simply says, love all your photos, keep doing what you do best. And I appreciate that 100%, because you know what, I am absolutely going to keep doing what I try to do my best. Photography is pretty much my life. I do photography almost without fail every day. And if I'm not taking pictures, I'm editing. And if I'm not editing pictures, I'm making videos or I'm doing something. My partner here, Rossi, when are the beaches opening? Brother man, you have to talk to the government about that. If you want me to take a good guess though, but the beaches should have opened like 8 months ago. I feel it's coming like in the next 2 weeks or so then. I think so. But don't hold me to that, I don't know, but I feel like it's coming in the next few weeks. Tracy G asks, what do you actually do when you're not being a photographer? What do I do when I'm not being a photographer? Well, when I'm not being a photographer or working or surfing or being a husband or doing all the other things I like to do, I spend a lot of time, honestly I spend most of my time being a photographer. In and around that, I love to watch a little Netflix with my wife. We're always looking for a new good series. We love movies and we're big horror movie fans as well. So when we can, we go to the cinema once in a while. We like that a lot. I do love to play football and sweat in the park. That's a big part of my life as well too. I like to be outdoors and playing sports and stuff. So the next question comes in from Rojo. Rojo says, I think that you're a very genuine person and I love the YouTube videos. Well, thank you very much, brother. I think honestly a lot of people who support and follow me are also really genuine people. Social media at one point in my life has a lot of negative state at times. Since this account has grown and the pictures and the photography what I realized a lot is that they have some really good people out there and a lot of very supportive, kind-hearted people, you know. They always have, you know, negativity and haters and in there. But that's cool, like those things don't bother me at all, and sometimes it's borderline funny, to be honest. Like I like when people come with their nonsense. So the next question comes in from Charmadelic, if I'm saying that correct. The question is, what experience taught you the biggest lesson? I would say for me personally, the biggest lessons, which there have been many of in life, I think from my past relationships, as in romantic relationships, which I've had maybe 4 or 5 long-term relationships since I was a younger guy, and going through all those relationships, the good times, the bad times, the breakups, all of those kind of things. I think those taught me like some of the biggest lessons in life and molded me into who I am today and how I think and how I operate, you know, and realize that, you know, even if some of them were really not great at the time or some really hurt or whatever, I think that they were necessary. And they probably brought me to where I am now. Honestly, probably a lot better of a person than I may have been growing up. I think you just have to learn to take the mistakes and the things that are not so great in your life and just use them to make you better and then push forward. So I hope that answers your question. Sam Rolls asks, what got you into photography and when? So what got me into photography is that I love traveling. I'm very passionate about travel, like going around the world and stuff. And I always love to take pictures and create memories with like my iPhone or whatever I had at the point in time. And yeah, I always just loved taking pictures, but I never knew about proper photography. You know, I just knew phone, edit, take nice pictures. That was cool, and that's a great starting point. Like 3 years ago, my uncle sold me a second-hand professional camera, and yeah, basically I never looked back since. It was a real game changer in my life. There's no comparison to having a proper photography camera, and I think anybody aspiring to be a photographer should eventually try to get a camera. Whatever camera, even a second-hand one or something. Granted, if what you have is a phone, you use your phone until you can upgrade. Very short, random story. My current wife, Stephanie, when we first got together, however long ago we got together, maybe like 2 years or something. Yeah, I was by her house in her kitchen, and I had an Instagram account. It was like my normal name, Alan Charles or whatever. It's the same account as it is now. And I was bored, and I decided to try and be like, oh, maybe if I name this account Trini Surfer or something, and I could post cool pictures or whatever, you know. Girlfriend and well, my wife and sister. Well, one day they kind of like, why is Alan's name now Trini Surfer? And all my friends like, who's this person? Why are we following them? And yeah, and I just left it and pretty much just started to post pictures. It got creative, and over time it just grew. Luna Art Studio Photography asks, how do you make a living as a photographer in Trinidad? And the answer to that is no one way. How do you make a living in photography in Trinidad? Pretty much you have to take your time, start at the bottom, learn constantly, you have to put yourself out there, be confident, get jobs. Now of course there's a bunch of different kinds of photography. You know, there's people, there's product photography, there's interior photography. Try and figure out what you want. Maybe try a little bit of everything. And my advice would be to try everything a little bit, but also make sure that you're learning and capable. Talk to people in the industry who have had success. See if they're willing to teach you a little bit. But the truth is I think it really comes down to you promoting yourself, showing people what you can do, getting your name out there, and really committing and working hard. Like, I don't think you make it in photography anyway, and far less Trinidad, unless you really love what you're doing. Sell your product, learn to get better. There will be criticism, there will be people who are not happy sometimes. Customer service, of course, is huge, you know. Responding to messages on time, giving feedback, just trying to be, you know, a person that people want to work with. And I think that's a very, very important factor in all of it. Million Adventures asks, what got me into photography? Well, I just answered that already, but pretty much travel and the desire to capture and create memories. I just like taking pictures, and I like having the memories, and I like editing. I love editing too. So that is pretty much what got me into photography. So Diosa asks, Mr. Adventurer, what do you like to collect when you're traveling besides photos and videos? So when I'm traveling, I don't collect anything other than photos and memories, which is not what you asked. I'll tell you what I do when I go traveling, though. That is not a collection, but it is something that I do all the time. Over the last few years, I've been known to travel by myself. Like, I would go to Portugal or random countries by myself, completely by myself. And one thing I do when I go to new cities, new countries, kind of crazy, but I love it, and I think it makes me experience the countries better, is I download Google Maps onto my phone and save an offline map in case I can't access Wi-Fi or anything where I am. And I will go and walk like for about 6 hours non-stop, stopping in like cafes and different things for lunch and coffee, and get lost like without any kind of coordination. I'll just follow Google Maps and I'll just see where I'm going in these cities. Probably not the best idea sometimes because it could be dangerous, but yeah, I pretty much just walk and look and take pictures. And then when I figured like my legs are hurting or I walk far enough, hopefully there's like a taxi or an Uber to take me home, and I have my address saved to my Airbnb or wherever I'm staying, and then I let them take me back home after getting completely lost in the city. My next question comes in from my partner, the captain here. Now, my brethren here on Instagram, I'll give you this, my brother. I don't think I've ever met a person in my life who likes boats more than you. You are destined to be a boatman. You know, you should marry a boat. And naturally, his question then asks, do you like boat races, aka the Great Race? I actually do really like the Great Race. I don't follow it as much now, but when I was younger, I used to make sure I was up every morning at like 6 a.m. I know people like Mr. Solo and all these other boats out there. I just loved it. But I was a Checkmate fan. I don't think Checkmate is wrong anymore, unfortunately. But that was my team Checkmate. My partner Chelsea here asks, what's the most beautiful place you have ever photographed? That is a real hard question. The most beautiful place I have ever photographed is Alberta, Canada. I went there with to meet a friend to snowboard, and he took me into the mountains, the Rocky Mountains during winter time on a big frozen lake, and I had never seen anything like that before, and it was truly impressive to see real mountains. You know, Trinidad has like some big hills and but proper mountains and huge mountain ranges on a big open lake with a sunset in the sky. I wasn't even very good at taking pictures at that point. I was just learning my camera, so there's no need to say I have like the best quality pictures of it, but the entire experience and trying to get photography of that area was like blow mind. Incredible forests and stuff. When you set foot in those kind of places, different, change your mentality, take what I'm here. Very, very recommended. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you. A question from another Chelsea now. So she asks, where do I see myself in 5 years? In 5 years, it's very hard to predict. You don't know what's going to go on in life, but I hope that in 5 years, making my living completely from photography, YouTube videos, and different things when it comes to creation. I'm hoping that perhaps my wife and I may be starting to build a little small home if possible. I also hope in 5 years that maybe even a kid or two, you know, possibly. But I mean, I guess that's up to powers that be, as they say. In a financially good place, my family was good, everybody's well, I lived in a comfortable spot, and my photography and creator lifestyle was going well, I would have no complaints. And I was still surfing and the beach is open. God knows, I hope they open the beach in the next 5 years, right? Santic says, you're doing an amazing job with the photos and social media. Respect, my friend. Respect to you, brother. Just another one of the many people who are just super supportive and very kind towards me on social media. So big up to you, brother. Another guy, Frank. These are people who don't live in Trinidad, by the way, so they reached out from different parts of the world. Frank says, positive human and love life. Even though it gets hard sometimes, I have to honestly say that I do really love life. Another question comes in now from Sari. Correct me when I say it, I know I'm not saying it correct. Beach or sea? Sea. Reason is, now of course they go hand in hand, but without the sea, I can't surf. You know, beach is fantastic and I love to be on the sand and chilling and lying down, but I need the sea to go and ride my waves. So the beach would not be enough, unfortunately, for me. Shamat asks, I don't know you, but from your perspective of creativity, you're a donut, and I love donuts. Well, I'll tell you this much. My wife runs a very good donut company called the Tipsy Boutique. I basically have to try my best to stop eating those donuts, because then that's probably why I'm starting to look like a donut right now in my stomach and my face, because I've probably eaten too much donuts. I am basically a donut at this point in time. Shavesh Lal Portrait, he asks, how do you make the time to visit all of these places? The honest answer to that, boy, I'm a workaholic. I'm very restless, so I start most of my days at like 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. Jump out immediately into my car, go do street photography or go make a YouTube video. Every day is different, but I'm always on the move. And then I spend like the next 2 hours editing and how do I find the time to do all these things? I think I just squeeze every second and every minute out of every day. You know, so there's no real personal time, but luckily for me, photography is a personal hobby. So kind of like when I go out and do shoots with people or I'm making YouTube videos, you could say that's my downtime. B15 NYC asks, what is your favorite childhood memory? My favorite childhood memory or pastime and skateboarding with my friends in the road when I was like a younger boy in school. Before I surfed, before I did photography, I used to skateboard. I was a skateboarder. That was my initial sport. And that was a very interesting time in my life. Like I used to really love skateboarding and the whole culture and vibe around it. And I still love it, but I just don't do it anymore. I'm much more into surfing and football and that stuff now. KX Veer asks, what's one life lesson you wish you could have learned 10 years ago? One life lesson, there's a million life lessons I wish I knew 10 years ago. I put this up actually the other day on Instagram. So a good life lesson is, and I'll throw this towards people like when it comes to relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships. If the person wants to be with you, they will. So let that sink in. All you people out there, or people growing in relationships, and you're trying to convince somebody to stay with you, or you don't know why they don't love you, or they're saying they're not sure, they can't commit, or they like you but they don't know and they're confused. Just cut your losses, move on. If somebody wants you in their life, they will have no problem whatsoever to keep you in their lives, and it will be a no-brainer. Woo! Alright, so moving on. The next question comes from Sarah. And Sarah asks, how did you gain confidence to share your work with people? I didn't really gain confidence to share my work with people. I'll tell you where I got confidence. But first I'll answer your question. When I started my Instagram account, especially photography, it didn't require any confidence. I was just posting because I love to post, and I was not overly concerned how people would feel about what I post or what I do. Mostly I don't really care what people think about me. I'm quite okay with myself, and I don't believe too much in worrying about how other people feel or what they say. But where I did need confidence, pushing myself into uncomfortable situations, is for meeting people to do like family portraits, maternity shoots, working with people's children, which I love. I just love all of it now. But to go there, to meet complete strangers, be really good with them, make sure they hopefully like you, take pictures of their family, then produce hopefully images that they really like, because people are paying you to do jobs. That takes a lot of confidence. It still makes me nervous, but I like it. So yeah, that's where I needed confidence, and every day I'm still working on that. Rosanna asks, what inspired me to pursue photography? I know I kind of answered these questions before, but just to give you an answer, taking pictures in the early years, I just really loved it. It inspired me to do photography. But where it really caught on is after I got my first professional camera, and I started to learn more and more how much of a science and how detailed photography really is. That's when I started to realize, okay, well, maybe there's actually a career or something more than just being in love with this and being passionate about it. I think maybe about a year and a half ago, I saw the potential to really people started to ask to purchase my images to put up in their home or for canvases, and then I started to do the t-shirts that I sell now and stuff, and maybe I can make a life out of this, and photography is a tool for me to do so. Des asks, can you talk about your experience in another country? I'll tell you a real quick experience in another country. Went to Scotland once when I was younger, we went to a nightclub, and they got me a little too, so they're making me take a lot of shots, and pretty much I had a bit too much to drink. So at some point in the night, I went looking for the bathroom, and I was disoriented inside this club that we were in. Pushed open a door, and before I knew it, I pushed through an emergency exit and ended up in an alley in the back of the club, and the emergency exit door could not be opened from the outside, so I got trapped outside in the alley. So I decided, okay, you know what, I'll just walk around until I find the entrance to the club again to find my girlfriend and her friends. Now, I've never been to Scotland. I had no cell phone or anything like that. Long story short, I got lost for about 8 hours. I ended up walking about 16 miles away from the nightclub. This was in Glasgow in Scotland, and I was asking people if they could point me to Glasgow University, not knowing that she was in a different Glasgow University. So I kept walking towards this other Glasgow University, finally made it there, and saw this random student at like 3 o'clock in the morning walking home from studying, and he allowed me to use his phone, and somehow I managed to recall the 14-digit cell phone number that my girlfriend had, and yeah, she sent a taxi to pick me up like 16 miles away, and it was crazy, and she was not happy with me. So Keshia Sergio says, you seem like a very humble and simple person. I do my best to try and stay as humble as possible these days, so I think that's a great feature in a person, to try to be humble. We'll always have some ego and some ways about each of ourselves, but I think if you can be humble no matter how your life goes or no matter what wealth or status you achieve, you're probably doing a very good job. Mikhail Karabi says, and you lay the blueprint for heights. So I'm assuming he's referring to like the YouTube videos and stuff, which I appreciate. I do try my best in YouTube videos to give a little history, kind of explain to people what you can expect on hikes or how you get there. So if that's what you're picking up in it, I appreciate it, brother. That is definitely what I'm going for. So thank you for noticing. J868 says, most memorable, enjoyable hike. That's many hikes to choose from, but I think one of the best ones I went on, Jono and I and his friend Etienne went on a 3 pools hike like 2 years ago. And the weather was just out of this world. Like clear, emerald green waters. Like, I don't know what was going on, but it's one of the cleanest days I've ever seen in Trinidad on the ocean side as well as up in the hike itself, and it was just incredible beauty. Forever Irritated, very interesting name, says, have you been to Tobago, and if you have, what was something you liked? Well, I've been to Tobago thousands of times, and I go to Tobago like about 4 to 5 times a year because I just love Tobago. What is something I love about Tobago besides everything? One of my favorite things in Tobago is I actually like to go and drive around the entire perimeter of the island and take pictures and just take a slow drive, drink some coffee, and yeah, just soak up all the views along the way. I think that's one of the best things you could do in Tobago, is take like a long drive around the entire island and just see everything. Cream01 asked me a bunch of different questions, so I'm going to answer them. How do you bring so much emotions to photos? I think the answer to that is yes, okay, editing and whatever abilities I have hopefully come through in my photos, but I think a lot of the emotion in photos comes from the subjects. So you walk through town or Port of Spain, you take pictures of people living their lives, going to work, sleeping on the pavement, homeless people. Those naturally convey emotions because they are emotional situations, and as human beings we can reflect on those because, you know, you can imagine what it might be like to be in that person's shoes. What draws your eye the most when taking a picture? I look for leading lines as well as popping subjects. You know, I love a sunset, something that has a lot of color. I like a lot of color at times, not always. So that's the kind of stuff I look for in a photo. A good composition, as they would say, I guess. Any marriage advice? Well, I'll just give you the advice that everybody gave me about my marriage to my wife. Happy wife, happy life. I'll answer this last one to you. What advice do you have on running a successful online photography business? This might seem very straightforward, but work very hard. Day in, day out, it becomes you. You have to live that life. You have to treat it like a 9-to-5 job. Enjoy it, but you can't let up. You know, if you want a presence on social media, if you want to do good at photography, you can't post one picture, not respond to your DMs, don't answer any comments, not interact with people. A big part of photography and business and being successful is networking, meeting new people, communicating with others. You know, never wake up and think, oh, I'm me, I don't have to talk to these people, everybody loves me, the end, you know. People want to be shown respect, they want to feel involved, and why should anybody hire you or support your business if it is you don't at least show them some good customer service and decency in return? Sophia, who's a friend of mine I used to work with, asked, what's my biggest secret? I'll tell you one secret that I haven't told anybody as of now. I don't know if it's such a secret. I have once or twice, or maybe many more times, I'm not too sure, possibly gone to the beach when we're not supposed to be going to the beach. But I can't confirm or deny that. But that might be one of my secrets. But I don't know. I don't know if it's true. It may or may not be true. Krista21 says, I love your photographs, simply stunning. How long have you been doing photography? Real photography, 2.5 years, 3 years. Like since I've picked up a proper camera and since I've started to learn about actual photography. Stacey King says, how and where would you see yourself in the next 10 years? In 10 years, again, much like the question about 5 years, I think I would like to see myself with a happy family, you know, traveling. I want my children to be able to, you know, have access to a decent lifestyle. That's what I really want out of life. I don't want millions and billions and billions of dollars. I just want to be comfortable and be able to cover any expenses or any desires we have in life. And 10 years ago, if you asked me if I would be sitting down and making YouTube videos, zero chance. I would not even have considered it. That didn't exist to me 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I wanted to play football and surf. I didn't even know photography was a thing 10 years ago, to be honest. Gigi Joseph says, you're so hot, but I think you can be a little shy sometimes. I don't think I'm very shy. I think I put myself out there a lot. I don't think I'm very hot either, but I hope my wife thinks so. And yeah, that would just make me really happy. So if you and my wife think I'm hot, that's at least 2 out of the 8 billion people on earth who are telling me that I'm a decent looking person. So I accept your compliment, and I'm going to let my wife know that there's somebody out there who thinks I'm hot, so she better up her game and make sure she keeps me happy. Nigel Photography asks, what do you most enjoy in photography? Why did you choose it as a career? What I most enjoy in photography, you never stop learning. You can never be at the top of your photography game because there's always something new. I will die before I learn everything in photography, that is for sure. And why did I choose it as a career? The answer to that is very simple, is I love this. Joel asked, did you ever overcome the awkwardness of vlogging in public? That will never pass. Right now talking to you guys, I feel weird because I'm literally sitting down in a bedroom talking to a camera on a tripod. I'm literally staring at that camera right now, there's nobody here, but I'm talking as if there's a person in front of me. And that's just madness. But you get used to it, and you just have to say to hell with it and talk. And that's what I'm doing now, I'm talking. Zaf asked, why did you start a YouTube and Instagram page promoting beauty and places of TNT? I started the Instagram page just for fun, and well, I live in Trinidad and Trinidad is beautiful, and I spend a lot of time at the beaches, in waterfalls, so I figured, hey, why not just show the things I love? Trisha asked, or Trish, can you do a video and get some pics of La Forêt and Tobago? And the answer is yes. I don't know when, but for sure that's happening, because I've never been there. And all my photography friends always have these cool pictures from there, and I think it definitely needs a YouTube video. So that's a promise, and that is going to happen at some point in time in the near future. Trini Portland says, I love the content that you put out. How did you come to live in Trinidad? Well, I was born in. Diva Rebel says, what camera are you using? Do you like surfing Trinidad and Tobago better? The camera I'm currently using is a Sony A7 III. Do I prefer Trinidad and Tobago for surfing? Tobago all the way. Trinidad I surf more consistently year-round, but has nothing on Tobago when it comes to quality of surfing and waves. Tobago has some world-class waves going on. Riyad Ramnath, have I said that right? Riyad Ramnath Photography, Riyad Ramnath, my boy Riyad. He asked, and he's doing this to annoy me, I'm sure, would you rather give up, or if you had to pick one, surfing or photography? But that's a real mean, lame question to come, and I know you're just doing it to be a nuisance. If I had to pick one, pick one right now, photography. Why? Because I love it pretty much as surfing, and I can earn a living from it. Unfortunately, I'm never going to be a professional surfer, and surfing can't pay me any money. So there's your answer, you very mean person. I will come to take your dog from your home. Inside joke, but Riyad knows what's going to happen. And the last question today comes from my boy Uzair Ali. I know I'm not saying your name right. Call me on your phone and tell me how to say your name. Where and how did you learn to surf? I learned to surf at Las Cuevas when I was much younger. And how I learned? Baptism by fire, trial and error. But I also then, like after about a year of kind of learning to surf on my own and with some friends who were also learning, I was lucky enough to be taught by some of the surfers in the country at that point in time, a guy named Alan Davis and a guy named Vishnu Lalal. Very experienced, and they actually used to run surf camp at the younger guys who were learning to surf like for weekend or week-long trips to Tobago. Some of the best times of my life. They'd go and they would teach us, and it's a surf camp. Pretty much just spending weeks surfing, liming with like friends, and some real good memories. And that played a huge part in me learning to surf and keeping surfing with my entire life. Right guys, so again, thank you very much for tuning in today. That's it for all the questions. I really enjoyed this. I hope you know a bit more about me now, and that you understand me a bit better. Don't be afraid to ask more questions in the comments or reach out to me on Instagram. Also, just take another reminder that if you are posting on Instagram or social media on the whole, use the hashtag Trini_Surfer, so I might get a chance to see some of your work. You could also use the hashtag TTUnseen. They are a very good hashtag for like Trinidad and Tobago content as well, so it's a good way to get yourself discovered if you are doing social media, photography or videos in Trinidad and Tobago. Have a great week. Thank you very much again too. I have another batch of t-shirts for sale. I come out with a new design every month for the t-shirts, so you can always DM me on Instagram and find out more information about that if you're interested in getting one. Guys, have a safe week. Thank you very much for tuning in and supporting the channel. Please share the video. Please like and subscribe, of course, it really helps me grow. Again, have a fantastic week. I love you all, you're really fantastic people. Thank you so much for all the support and love. Peace out. Bless guys.